So I already talked about it once, but I really do think that it's important. And the last article that I read was from The Verge, and the messaging really was the same, or is the same as here on Android Authority. Tim Cook says, "Buy your mom an iPhone" when asked about RCS. And then I'm happy that I continue to look because Google responds, and we'll scroll down in a moment so you can see exactly what was said. But the fundamental aspect of what's happening is we all send regular text messages. For years, we sent regular SMS, MMS, when we started sending pictures and low quality video. And then Apple comes along and does their little iMessage thing. And of course, it only works between other iOS devices. So you have an iPhone, you can send it to another iPhone, to an iPad when that became, when iPads and Macs and things like that. So it was if you were in the Apple ecosystem and the people you were interacting with were also in the Apple ecosystem, and you were able to have this improved messaging experience. Cool. Now, I believe iMessage became a thing back with the iPhone 4. Keep in mind the iPhone 14 is now about to be, well, it's available for pre-order. It will be released, I believe, sometime next week. And if we were to count, you would just say 10, but no, because there's some S's. So the iPhone 4S, 5, 5S, 6, 6S, 7, 8. 8 and 10 came out at the same time, so that's the same year. But then 10S, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we're talking 12 years of iPhone. And yeah, like when the iPhone wasn't as popular as it is now, it was kind of fine, cool, like, oh, we're kind of this small group of people where, yeah, we can send these messages amongst each other, kind of like BBM with BlackBerry, that it wasn't the primary means of communication. It wasn't the default way you send text messages. But 12 years later, when the install base or consumer base or whatever is roughly 50% of Americans or United States citizens, or whatever, 50% of people, I'm all, I'm getting flustered. Around 50% of smartphone market share here in the US is iPhone users. That number is drastically smaller when we look worldwide. But the whole point is, now you're not only impacting, a small portion of the community, you're impacting 50% on both sides. Where, yeah, before, if it was only, let's say, 20% of people in the country had iPhones, so it's like, oh, well, the rest of us, yeah, we kind of have this degraded experience, but we're able to, just do everything, and you guys, great, good for you, but now it's up to 50%. So it's like, all right, when you have that type of market share, I guess you have really two choices. You could say, well, we of course want people to adopt what we do, and the only way to adopt what we do is to now buy our hardware. Or you could say, well, we now are in this position where we are affecting things in a negative way, so we can affect something. We can't adopt something else, and then now we're able to overall improve the experience for everybody else. And the thing that we're all talking about is RCS. It's not a secret. Google has launched an entire campaign trying to, uh, I guess, bring awareness to the fact that what Apple is doing, or what they're choosing to not do, really, is impacting everybody. And of course, they'll say, well, for iPhone users, we don't really see a problem. Well, that's not true, because a lot of iPhone users message people who have Android devices. And as a result of what's going on here, their experience is hampered. And that's problematic. So just to scroll down, and the too long didn't read, is Tim Cook says Apple users aren't keen on getting RCS messaging support on iPhones, meaning that he hasn't heard many iPhone users complain about the fact that iPhones don't have RCS, which I don't want to say couldn't be further from the truth, but they probably don't. They clearly don't have a name to put on it, because most iPhone users probably don't know what RCS is, but they do know for a fact that their experience when texting Android users is degraded. Excuse me. Um, then he told a person at a conference to get their mom an iPhone to solve the green bubble problem. which of course it's not the color of the bubbles, it's really the messaging experience that this reporter and his mom are having, where trying to send pictures and videos isn't as good as it could be because she doesn't have an iPhone. And then Google's Android senior VP says you shouldn't have to do so. And yes, that couldn't be a more accurate statement. Is I shouldn't have to buy an iPhone to get an improved experience. It's like, oh, I shouldn't have to buy an iPhone to be able to make a phone call, or to uh, I don't know, anything else that requires you to interact with other people. Like, oh, the Facebook app is only available on the iPhone or something. Something ridiculous where we're now just talking about regular text messaging, and it's problematic. So we scroll down a little bit more, and yeah, Hiroshi Lockheimer says it's clear why Apple is opposing interoperability, but people should be able to send high quality videos and photos to their mom without having to buy her a new iPhone, which is true. Um, and then Nilay Patel says, yeah, he's quoting Tim Cook saying, I don't hear our users asking that we put a lot of energy into RCS, says Tim Cook in response to a question at Code. I would love to convert you to an iPhone. Obviously, yes. He would want everybody to buy an iPhone, and there we go. The reporter says, I can't send my mom certain videos. Tim Cook says, buy your mom an iPhone. And yeah, it was kind of a joke, but also serious. And it's like, yeah, that's problematic. Where in a world where things should work well together. And yes, you might say, well, yeah, you can send a text message. Yeah, you can, but it's not a great experience. Well, you can send a video message. Yeah, you can, but it's not a great experience. And there's something that exists that would drastically improve that overall experience, which is just having Apple adopt RCS. And the last thing that I'll say is one of the reporters on The Verge, he was talking, and he was essentially saying the same thing, that he has an iPhone, but his wife has an Android device. And in order for them to share, I guess, whatever videos or pictures that they want to between each other, they choose to use um, Google Drive, which is, I thought that was interesting because that seems to be the most cumbersome way to do something versus downloading an app like WhatsApp or Signal. I don't know if Google Allo is really still a thing, but there are other third-party apps that could be downloaded and installed that they both could install on their phones that would allow them to get that better, more improved experience. And when asked about that, the reporter said, well, my wife doesn't use those. And it's like, well, at that point, I'm like, all right, well, that is an easier solution than, yes, Apple adopting RCS. Yeah, that's the overall hope and goal, which isn't going to happen. Apple creating an iMessage app for other platforms, which also isn't going to happen. Using Google Drive, I mean, I use Google Drive and things just get backed up automatically. So maybe that's what they do, where, they might take a picture, record a video, and I think you can, yeah, just have like a shared folder, or I don't know. It's probably a more streamlined way to do it. And they probably do that. But yeah, just download WhatsApp. I mean, that's the unfortunate truth, that Apple could make something that improves the experience for everybody, but they're not going to. But at the same time, as a consumer, you could download WhatsApp. I'd also say, as a person who does this, which it sucks that I am doing this, I don't like the iPhone. I don't. It's not a good product. And the other thing that I'll say is, I feel like that shows Apple's confidence in their product. And now, granted, they clearly sell, millions of these things, if not billions of these devices. But if you are so keen on, we won't open up our messaging system or our messaging app, then I feel like that shows you aren't confident in your product. Like, we're not fine. Don't create the iMessage app. That's fine. But even then, it's like, well, you won't create one app that would be interoperable with other operating systems. You're afraid that parents are going to buy their kids Android devices because, yeah, like, Android is fine. And for a child, if it's a inexpensive device, that I'm sure for a parent, they might say, well, yeah, I can get this Android device for $200-300 as opposed to an iPhone that might cost however much. Yeah, maybe that is a thing, because cheap Android devices definitely do exist. But I don't know. I feel like, yeah, Apple isn't super confident in their product if they aren't willing to take this chance, to take this risk, which shouldn't even be considered a chance or a risk. It's just, hey, make something better. And they're just like, no, we're not going to do it. But the last thing I was going to get at, which is the most cumbersome thing that I do, is, yeah, I was saying I don't like the iPhone. I use it explicitly for iMessage and, of course, making phone calls since my main SIM card is in it. But I walk around with two phones in my pocket almost all the time. And the point is, iMessage and phone calls on one, but in terms of actual user interface and phone operation, I much, much prefer Android. So if I need to look something up, pull out my phone. If I pull out my Android device, sometimes mobile payments. I mean, either phone will do it, so it's not a problem. Watching YouTube videos, checking email, eBay, a bunch of other things that, yeah, I'll just do on Android. And yeah, because I don't really like even looking at the iOS user interface. And for this particular reporter at The Verge, like, yeah, if you guys don't want to download WhatsApp, and then, yeah, whatever Apple is going to do, you have no control over that, then, yeah, if you want to send your wife better photos, you can buy an Android phone, and you can now have a device that uses RCS. And yeah, you can use that phone exclusively with your wife. And you're listening to this, and you're probably saying that's absolutely ridiculous. And I'd say, yes, it is, but it's as ridiculous as Apple choosing to not adopt RCS.